Now my voice is finally getting back to the point where at the very least it sounds a little bit closer to normal. As you may be aware, over the course of the week or so I've been having a pretty bad cold, and while nothing is hurting anymore, at the very least my voice still does sound a little tiny bit funny, but I figured it's about time we get back into the swing of things and start casting some StarCraft 2 matches once again. And this is a match that Modlesis has been hyping me up for a little while. He's been pushing me for a few weeks now to go ahead and cast this one as well, but since it is a Terran versus Terran, I figured, you know, I just did a couple of them. Let me first off upload some other StarCraft 2 videos before jumping into this one. So supposedly this match is absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and introduce the players, because indeed this is a viewer submitted replay. Spawning in the bottom right corner, playing with the blue Terran pieces, we have the Diamond League Terran player known as Maximus. And his opponent, spawning all the way on the other end of the map, playing with the red Terran pieces, we have none other than someone's nickname that I'm completely gonna butcher, I think. He goes by the name of Harbo. I'm gonna say Harbo. I'm not entirely sure exactly how you pronounce the last set of letters right there, but regardless, that's what I'm gonna go with. He's gonna be playing with the red Terran pieces, and of course, we do indeed have the cross spawn locations on Cactus Valley LE. Now, like I said, right, this is a viewer submitted replay. As you may be aware, I've been casting viewer games for a little while right now. If you've got an absolutely insane game that you would like me to cast as well, you can now go ahead and submit your replays to replays@LowkoTV. Just a simple email address. You can submit them, attach them to the email. And Modlesis has been going through the games, and he's been selecting the best ones for me to cast as well. Now, he's been pushing this one for a little while already, right? So, this is bound to be a really insane match. I'm not entirely sure what to expect. Of course, like I said, both of these guys are in Diamond League, so that does definitely mean that they know exactly what is going on in the matchup. And while there may be some slight mistakes here and there, for the most part, these guys should definitely be experienced enough to show us some very solid gameplay here as well. A little bit of build order variation right here, right from the get-go. Harbo actually going for that marine opener with a much faster factory, and then also that second gas, guys, are really early on. We do see that early second gas here as well from Maximus, but instead he has decided to go for the reactor on the barracks, and at the same time he's following it up with a factory as well. After which, you know, he also created, of course, a Reaper. So he actually had that Reaper already moving across the map with that very first SCV that made it across as well. Apparently he managed to get out of there alive. The marine tried intercepting it, but regardless, this Reaper should be able to do at the very least a little bit of work, because there's very little home defenses here going on at the very least for the time being for the Terran player in red. Now he does indeed have himself a Hellion coming in just a second, so we'll see exactly when he's going to be making use of that, because the Reaper for the time being at the very least is just simply idling, and while he will be able to figure out exactly what his opponent is going for here, I don't think he's going to be able to do a whole lot of damage, because indeed that Hellion is already out. There's also a marine, of course, ready to intercept it, and indeed the Reaper does end up falling. At the same time, on the other end of the map, we do see the tech lab being built right here on that second barracks. We also do already see a factory with a tech lab on it too, so we will be able to start producing the siege tanks very early on into the map. And I'm assuming here that very shortly we will see the follow-up of either Vikings or Medevacs, kind of depending on what kind of style he wants to play. So neither player really going for those super quick expansions. Harbo actually managing to get his command center up a little bit earlier than his opponent. He's also indeed building himself that very first Medevac. So we'll see exactly what he's going to be following this up with. No tech labs just yet, so that will make this a little bit more difficult if he is planning to go for, say, a siege tank based build like his opponent is. And of course, the siege tank marine composition is most definitely the standard in Terran versus Terran. Lots of additional production, though, being added on here for Maximus. I think he's going to be following this up with a command center here on the low ground in just a little bit. Definitely a little bit late when it comes to the TVT matchup. But of course, Terran versus Terran is a pretty difficult one as it is already. I mean, if you are unfamiliar with the matchup, most of it will come down. He actually did just manage to scan as well, figure out exactly what Harbo is going for. But most of it comes down to unit control. Like, economy and whatnot, of course, is very important. If you have more SUVs than your opponent, that obviously means that you can also produce more units. But generally speaking, if you're the one with the better control, you can get a massive advantage in Terran versus Terran. I mean, the first Reaper can do so much value. The first Medevacs drops can definitely do a ton of damage as well. And later on into the game, the Siege Tank Micro, the Marine Pickup Radius, like, you can do all kinds of crazy little moves in Terran versus Terran, and it makes it one of the most complicated and one of the most difficult matchups in all of StarCraft 2. Looks like, however, Maximus has got enough of sitting back. He's managed to get himself that first medevac out here as well. I guess he's not producing the second one just yet because he just hit himself a minor supply block, desperately adding on the double depots right now, which is one of those things that I guess makes the difference between like a master level Terran player as well as a diamond level player. But regardless, he's still got himself a very sizable army, and this Liberator is going to be crucial to force the unsiege on the siege tanks, because without it, Harbo is going to have a very hard time defending this. He's got no siege tanks right now of his own to actually try and defend against this, and this could become a bit of a troubling position for him, because the siege tanks are already out on the other end of the map, and indeed the Terran player in red is going to end up losing at least a couple of these SCVs. Don't lose the Liberator. Do not lose the Liberator. That's like your only saving grace right now. And indeed, Harbo decided to go for a faster expansion, but he did not put on any damage to his opponent whatsoever. The drop on the other end of the map, I guess it wasn't really much of a drop actually, just simply a move out on the other end of the map, ended up hurting him a lot, and he will end up losing the command center here as well. That's a huge deficit that he just found himself in, and all of a sudden, the Terran player in blue, known as Maximus, must feel pretty happy about himself, because I mean, he's got himself that expansion finished up here eventually. He's getting himself all of the upgrades that he would like to. He's adding on more and more production in the form of barracks, and while apparently he may be overcommitting here, he's already done a very nice amount of damage. So look at that, still a lot of additional damage is being dealt. Now of course, these Marines will be able to gun down at this Liberator, but the Liberator did clean them all up, and actually that does mean that those siege tanks will end up taking a bunch of damage here as well. Medevac, however, still trying to get on out of there. It's using some... No, you don't siege up that tank. Are you kidding me? Whoa, okay, I was gonna say that is not the craziest of best moves, but nope. It indeed does end up falling there as well, with Harbo picking up a very nice defensive measure, but still, he ended up losing that command center, and that is a very, very big deal. How exactly are you going to follow this up if you lose your command center in TVT? Well, generally speaking, you either are pushed all in, or you're going to try and play a macro game from behind, right? And look at that. Look at the amount of production here that the Terran player in blue already has. He's adding on as much as he can. He's adding on another tech lab as well as another barracks here with a reactor, so he's really amping up that production. This also allows him to get a bunch of missile turrets up to play very, very defensively and really not lose a beat when it comes to any kind of draw play. So this is going to be a difficult game here for Harbo, as he simply does not have that many units here at home anymore. Now, supply-wise, it is still looking reasonably even, but the longer this goes on, of course, that economy advantage will kick in, and just simply the amount of workers that are available, it's 37 versus 21, will significantly put Maximus in an advantage. Now, he did most definitely overextend, right? He ended up losing pretty much everything with that push, other than a single medevac that ended up being saved. Regardless, though, that was still a big commitment, and I actually really like this move right here. He's following it up with a third command center. That will make this, that will actually make this a lot more interesting, because of course he can keep on pushing that economy advantage as well. Plus he's got the resources to go ahead and do so, but he will most definitely need to make sure that he starts building up a bunch of upgrades here as well, and as much production as he possibly can afford. Meanwhile, on the other end of the map, Harbo has secured himself that expansion here eventually once again, and once he starts building up some siege tanks, this could actually still become a very interesting match. Harbo actually decided to load up a few of the medevacs now. There are 60 Marines as well as a third medevac here that's sort of empty, I suppose. Those pilots must feel pretty lonely in there. Regardless, though, I think he's planning to go for a bit of a drop play here, and actually... Okay, I see what this match could become, or I see why this match could become very interesting here. Maximus, right around the same time as the medevacs are arriving on the other end of the map, has just loaded up 4 medevacs here. Is he gonna go for a push, though? I mean, if he's not flying away here very shortly... And he is. I think he is. Oh my god, he's actually going to pick up and get on out of there. Right at the same time that this massive amount of units from the Terran player in red will join that natural. And look at that. All of the medevacs did just end up getting out of there, and a lot of SCVs will end up falling. Will he decide to turn around? Looks like no, that is not the case. He's instead going to evacuate that main, or that natural command center rather. And at the same time, apparently, Maximus is smelling blood. He's decided to go for the counterattack, knowing that all of the opponent's units are indeed on the other end of the map. He will be able to do a huge amount of damage while in the main base of his opponent. But regardless, he's going to also end up losing a lot of stuff on the other end of the map. Of course, Maximus will be able to clean up a lot of these units. Look at that, stim being activated, siege tanks sieging up. There is no way that the single Marauder would be able to do a whole lot, but at the same time, there are also so many Terran players, or so many Terran units rather here, for the Terran player in red, that there is no way that he will be able to defend at the same time as being aggressive. And Maximus decides to lift up all of his buildings and get him out of there. He's got a couple of additional command centers. That third one that he made actually turns out to be very valuable right now. The SCVs of Harbo are indeed being brought out on the other end of the map, and he started up a command center in the bottom left corner while he is losing all of his main base. The siege tanks still dealing so much damage. A couple of hero SCVs trying to fight for the Dominion for a little while longer, but they do also end up falling. And all of a sudden we have a very interesting, a very awkward sort of base race scenario. Still though, Maximus has got this third command center as well. He's decided to not quite lift that one up. At the same time, Harbo is losing the command center on the other end of the map, but he started up another one in the bottom left corner like we already saw, as well as one in the top right corner as well. A few scans are going to be the last of the work of this main command center, as indeed it does end up falling. With this many Terran units, however, I wonder exactly what's going to happen here. I mean, there's one hero marine still shooting away on the other end of the map. Where exactly did all of the units go for the Terran player in or actually, no, he's just simply hanging out here. I thought for a second that he was planning on returning home to try and see if he could defend. At the same time, though, he has found out about his opponent's base here in the top right corner, and all of the SCVs are over here too. The barracks that were being built are going to be cancelled, and all of a sudden, Maximus will be able to pick up a substantial amount of kills there. 45 SCVs were killed by Maximus, 36 by Harbo, and all of a sudden, that command center is trying to land on top of another building command center, and I think this one will be forced to cancel as well, or indeed get killed. That's a pretty painful one, because that is a lot of wasted resources. At the same time, this medevac will find out actually about the expansion in the bottom left corner as well. I wonder if there's actually going to be enough. There you go. He actually finds out about it. There's only a single Marine actually right now. Or it's actually only, you know, a couple of Marines in this medevac right now. No, he doesn't notice it. He doesn't notice it. He's preoccupied on the other end. I mean, he's trying his very best to kill as much as he possibly can. And at the same time, the Marines are intercepting it. That was ridiculous. That was a move right there that was crucial. That could have been a straight up victory there by Maximus if he would have been able to snipe those last few SCVs. And indeed, he can't quite believe it. He decides to go for a scan after the fact as well, and he just flew his medevac by, so he indeed figured out exactly what is going on the other end of the map. And while both players starting off in the cross spawn locations in the top left corner and the bottom right one, all of a sudden we have switched positions as both of them have taken over the top right as well as the bottom left corners. Interestingly enough though, what exactly is gonna be the follow-up here from either of these, right? Because there are a lot of medevacs here. Maximus has got energy in those for days, so he could potentially go for a lot of drop play. At the same time though, Harbo only has got himself a few here. They will be running out of energy very shortly if they keep on healing up this small Marine hit squad. But at the very least, he's being active on the map, and I like this one a lot. Harbo not scared to move out. Does he know about his opponent's base? He does not, but of course he has figured out exactly what was going on here when he saw that floating command center right on the one that he was building as well. There is still a single barracks as well, trying to figure out whether or not there are any additional mining bases here for the Terran player in the red colors. But Maximus has decided that apparently he feels confident enough to start building up a barracks here, or a factory here as well. Harbo, however, got himself a massive amount of Marines in the main base. He will be able to shoot that one down. Of course, however, there are significantly more Terran units here as well for the player in blue. But are there enough Marines? That's really what counts right here. And while all of the medevacs do end up falling, apparently there are more than enough Marines to call this one out as well. I don't know if Maximus actually stimmed in time right there, because it certainly did seem like he had a lot of medevacs to be able to keep this one alive. The repair being activated on that single Viking. The Viking, however, does end up falling, what not without killing a very nice amount of Marines there as well. The hero SCVs repaired that one for a little while longer, while the medevacs were trying to keep the SCVs alive for a little while too. A crazy match here. Because I think I was gonna say, like, I think for a second I thought right there that Harbo was going to be able to pick up the victory there, but all of a sudden, I mean, Maximus is looking alright. I mean, Supply-wise, he's looking solid. A lot of that supply is, of course, in medevacs that, you know, don't even have enough Marines here to really heal anything up. But regardless, he's going to be able to build that one up here very, very shortly. And as far as the worker counts go, actually, it's dead even. So this is kind of a crazy one right now. I mean, look at it, right? We've got 2 barracks here for Harbo, playing with the red Terran pieces. We have 2 as well for his opponent. Both players are desperately trying to add on a barracks or a factory right now, too. And very shortly, I mean, I know I'm gonna have to give the upper hand here just because of the medevacs. I mean, once the Marine clumps come back into action, right? The medevacs will just provide so much mobility as well as so much healing to all of these Terran units in blue. I mean, he can drop siege tanks, he can drop a lot of the Marines, but more importantly, he can keep them healed up for a little while longer. Maximus apparently going for some Reapers now too, to potentially try and scout out exactly what's going on. He will be able to throw a cheeky grenade forward, potentially snipe a single Marine too, but there are quite a lot of them available to deal with all of the aggression just fine. And actually, both players are just simply trying to go back, I guess, to the, I guess, like the 4 or 5 minute mark in the game. I mean, neither of them really have got a whole lot of gas income here anymore, and neither of them really are producing super high-tech units. But regardless, if you would have tuned into this video right now, right, and you would have started watching this game right now, and you didn't look at the clock, this looks like your good old Terran versus Terran, where both players is simply spawned in the opposite corners of the map. But regardless of what happened before this, all of a sudden this game is looking reasonably even once again. While I am giving the slight upper hand here to the Terran player in blue just because of the crazy amount of medevacs that he has, once again we're getting to the point where siege tanks are out, where Marines are joining the battle, where upgrades are once more going to be very, very important. And if we look at those, we do have very similar upgrades here for both of the players. I mean, Maximus has got himself +2 armor, whereas his opponent gets +2 attack, and there's 1-1 as well in the other researches too. +1 attack upgrades on those siege tanks as well. We got Stimpack, combat shields, I guess as also the concussive shell research here for Harbo. But other than that, I mean, this is practically a dead even game, where the worker count is even. The army counts are slightly in favor of Maximus, but this could still be anyone's, and Harbo is indeed success. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That was a painful one. Harbo has indeed successfully analyzed exactly what's going on. He will be able to... No, you didn't need to cancel that. You did not need to cancel that. Whoa, that's actually a really big deal. Why did you cancel that? Yeah, and exactly. The scan is thrown up in the main base of his opponent because Maximus wanted to figure out exactly what is going on there. Did he just leave his main, or were there still units hanging out over there? Apparently, though, Harbo may think that this is a trick. Maybe there are some siege tanks out here that he has not quite spotted. Of course, these units can indeed jump into the main base, and with a couple of properly placed grenades, they could indeed hurt quite a bit. Apparently, Harbo is feeling dangerous enough, though. He's just simply gonna try and check out what's going on. He's a little bit scared, though. He's a little bit scared. Why you... Okay. Alright, no, okay, he is gonna indeed drop on more and more of them. I'm not sure if this was the wisest of decisions. At least cancelling that command center felt like a really big deal, but eventually, all of those Reapers will end up paying with their blood. At the same time, however, a massive drop is going into the main base of the Terran player in red, and this could become an issue because if this siege tank sieges up, and there it goes, it's going to be able to do a stupid amount of damage. Indeed, the Reapers out on the map decided to distract all of the Terran pieces here, and all of a sudden that missile or that Widow Mine rather, as well as the combination of the siege tank and all of the Marines, ended up doing a substantial amount of damage. Now there is indeed a command center going up here for Maximus. He's getting himself a bigger economy here as well, and this was a big move. I mean, so many, as if you look at the amount of workers killed for both players right now, units killed reasonably even, but there are no more workers here for Harbo other than just a couple of these mules. Now, of course, the mules are magical units, and ooh, that Widow Mine actually in the main, very painful. I mean, there is almost enough energy here for a scan. I think we will be able to figure out what exactly happened here in just a little bit. But a scan at this point is going to be rather aggressive. And yeah, he's basically forced to go ahead and do so. At the same time, though, the 3 medevacs have made their way to the other end of the map. They're going to try their very best to drop into the main base of Maximus. He's got siege tanks, however, already in place. Maximus, at the same time, decides to move a couple of the medevacs back home here as well. But regardless, this is going to be an important push. This is going to be a very important move here for Harbo. Will we be able to close this one out right here, or really not? Siege tanks not sieged up just yet, because all of the Marines are once again pushing forward forward siege tanks, target fire down and sniped brilliantly. At the same time, the medevacs have made their way to the other end of the map as well. And Maximus is picking off the production of his opponent. And while there were enough units here for Maximus to defend, he did not siege up the tanks in time. And Maximus says again, I guess he realized exactly what ended up happening there because he did not defend in time. And once more, players are forced to lift up all of their bases. The command center is starting to burn, however, but there's still another one out as well, ready to take its place. At the same time, though, we've got the double medevac aggression, or the triple medevac aggression, rather. Well, now it's a double, dealing so much damage, but the double, like, base race scenario, I mean, that doesn't really happen. Twice a base race in a single game. Both players not producing anything here anymore. Neither are really having any income here. And Harbo will be losing another command center here, though. This is a big deal. Because if he doesn't lift up here and get on out of there, this is going to be a very rough game for him to lose. I mean, he was in a very nice situation here just now, but all of a sudden, he's decided to move across the map here with all of the medevacs as well as all of the marines to simply try and get home. I think it's faster to simply load up into a medevac and try and defend against the last of your buildings. But all of a sudden, Harbo has not rebuilt his base. He is indeed being revealed as well, and with that starport burning now as well, and not a single command center to be seen anywhere or an SCV to repair, I think that the last of these buildings may very well end up falling. The Terran units, however, have made their way home as well. They're going to be able to pick up both of the medevacs. Oh my god, no way. No way. I thought for a second that medevac would also get picked off. But regardless, there's mules. Maximus has retaken what was his old main base. He's gonna desperately mine from these last living mineral patches. They've got 420 resources remaining, apparently. But I mean, there's very little, right? There's very little. At the same time, though, Harbo has got way more army supply than his opponent, right? And these medevacs are still looking scary. I was a little worried that he would lose all of the buildings in time, but I guess he stimped a couple of times and managed to move his units home just a little bit faster. And while indeed there is still a medevac here pushing across the map as well, I don't know if he's going to be able to kill those last couple of depots here in time. I mean, this starport will indeed burn down here very shortly. That one will indeed fall. Harbo, however, still got so many units out. He's ahead in the supply count. Actually, I don't know exactly who to call this one an advantage for anymore. Maximus is rebuilding a command center in the top right corner of the map. I guess this would be his second base as well, because his old one once again did end up falling, but still, he will not be revealed. Right now, Maximus knows exactly where the units are of his opponent, and he's decided to beam across the map with the last 7 marines that he's got. There are no base defenses here for Harbo whatsoever. I think once again he needs to pick up and boost to his base, because he knows as well that he is revealed currently and there's only a few units. Now there is a single widow mine. This widow mine could do so much hurt. This widow mine could do so much damage. The last barracks will also end up getting killed right here. At the very least, no, there's actually still another one on the other end of the map as well. But Maximus will be able to figure out what's going on. The widow mine doing so much damage. The medevacs trying desperately to defend against the last of them. Dude, get in there. Get in there. You need to defend against this. He's trying to make him burn. He's trying to make sure that all of these buildings burn, but the last depot does not. The last depot does not. I mean, these ones will end up falling. But the last depot does not burn. That means that it will not die. There is no way. Are you telling me that Harbo can actually win this? This one's not burning. It won't go down. There are no buildings anymore here for the Terran player in... what? No way. No way. I was convinced that Maximus rather, would once again be able to close out this game. But he's got 3 army supply. He's got nothing. Harbo has got himself a hit squad of marines and a single depot. A single depot. That is all. He's leaving a few marines apparently behind on the other end of the map, but he knows very well where his opponent's final base is most likely going to be located, and Maximus indeed mining with 4 SCVs, but this is going to be the last of it. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I was certain that Harbo was dead right here. What a crazy match. There's not enough income here anymore from Maximum, nor a single SCV remaining. He's not going to be able to rebuild anything. There is no way. Now, of course, here's what Maximus could do if he wanted to be really cheeky and force a draw. He could just simply lift all of his buildings up and hang them in a corner where his opponent cannot reach. For example, right here, there is no way that Maximus would be able to kill, or that rather Harbo would be able to kill the last of those buildings. Is this going to be a draw? Is his opponent going to be that dirty? If he just simply hangs it above a high ground. Well, actually, no, the high ground doesn't count because, of course, there is still medevac vision as well. Regardless, though, this will be the last of the depots. There is a single... Oh, my God. He's producing... No. There's no way. No. There's no way. He's producing a single Reaper. This is his saving grace. He's going to try and move across the map. If somehow he would manage to kill his opponent's final depot, he would win this match as well. There are still a bunch of Marines, though. This is the last of the buildings here as well as this last barracks. The barracks is going to fly across the map. No way. No way. If you step into that Widow Mine, though. If you step into that Widow Mine, but he knows about it. He knows that there is one there. Don't run it in at that angle. You're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. Oh my God, no way. Are you going to win this? No way. No way. There is no way you could win this.
Base is under attack.
I think he can reach it. He can reach it. He can reach it. There is no. Oh my God, no way. This is bad for my voice, but oh my God, there's no way. There's a single Marine. It's burning. Maximus just managed to do it. There is no way. What the hell just happened? Easily the best game of a viewer-submitted replay that I have casted so far. What did he just say? He said, holy shit, that was intense. What a brilliant match of Terran versus Terran. I mean, we had several base races right there. Not a very common strategy at all. But apparently, the single hero Reaper ended up being enough here for Maximus to obtain the victory. And while he was being a little cheeky, and he indeed did find a safe haven for this barracks, so it would have forced a draw either way, a brilliant match of Terran versus Terran, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as well. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you haven't already as well, make sure you subscribe so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And other than that, I want to thank you very much all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.